What? Hello, internet. Hello, Cody Cold Gamer. What is your handle now? What is your? You keep changing
So
your name
it's
on
it's
Twitter and
Cold Day
YouTube.
TV. Basically, like this guy, I made a joke or whatever, and he took it serious. So if you type in the other name at first on Google, it shows a guy with like 1 million followers just going in on
Okay, all right, that's something to
me.
Google for later. That reminds me of the Josh Scobie incident. Did I ever tell you that
No,
Josh
no,
Scobie threatened to punch me in the face on
what?
Twitter a long time ago?
No
Um,
way.
it was I don't even remember what it was. It was back in my more rambunctious Twitter days when I used to just argue with everyone all the time about literally anything. And I made some sort of joke, and somehow like, it wasn't about his wife, but somehow he thought I was making fun of his wife.
Oh
And
shit.
like he literally, like he was like, if I see you somewhere, I'm gonna punch you dead in your face. Like, don't you ever say something about my wife again. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh god, because he's one of my favorite Jags players.
yeah, I love
Um, yeah.
him.
So Josh
So
Williams threatened to punch me in the face.
dude, my mom married somebody named with the last name Scobie or whatever, and for the longest time he told me like, yeah, I grew up with Josh Scobie, like, and blah blah blah. We were hanging out all the time and stuff like that. So I saw him after a game. I saw Josh Scobie. I was like, hey, do you know my stepdad? And he was like, no, never, never heard of him in my life. And he's from Texas. Josh Govey's from Texas, and my stepdad was from South Florida. So like, it didn't even line up. Like the ages didn't line up, whatever. And I just, spent my life believing it all the way up until embarrassing myself in front of him. And then I confronted my stepdad about it. I was like, "Yo, I asked Josh Govey," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I was just, I was just kidding or something." It was so funny. I actually brought it back up to Josh after that, whatever, and he laughed about it too.
That's
He's a really
insane.
cool guy.
Yeah, he seems, and that's why I was so sad that, like, he wanted to hurt me, um, was because, like I said, he's one of my favorite, Jags players.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I was gonna share this to the, Fan Battle Sports page, but I can't figure it out. I'm a little rusty with StreamYard, if you can't tell.
Yeah, you
We'll
went
share it
live
there later.
on your X page on the
Are we? Alright, yeah, that's cool. So, hopefully, some of the Jags fans have been interacting with the last couple days will hop on, and speaking of people who wanna get should be punched in the face, we've got a whole list, of candidates, from what happened this past Sunday. Um, we'll give everybody another minute to get started here, but I will say that, you know, people have been reacting all sorts of different ways about what happened to Trevor Lawrence. I am now going to refer to it as the attempted assassination of Trevor Lawrence on the field Sunday. And I never thought I'd see the day where I hate the Texans more than I hate the Tennessee Titans. Like I can't stand them. I can't stand their fans. I can't stand their head coach. I can't stand their GM. And obviously most of all, I can't stand Aziz Al Shair. I don't care what he says. It was a split decision, and he didn't mean to hurt anybody. The dude's a punk. He did it on purpose. He was trying to do what he did. He was trying to injure Trevor Lawrence. Anybody who says otherwise is either a terrible person or they're just sticking up for their team. Which, if it is the latter, they're just sticking up for their guy. I can respect that to an extent.
right.
We're just like, yeah, I don't care. He did what he did. But all this hubbub over supposedly he didn't mean to do it. He meant to do it. He did exactly what he meant to do. He did it on purpose, and he got the reaction. I don't know. I don't know if he got the reaction he was looking for, but like I said on Twitter uh, Sunday, Evan Ingram should never have to buy himself a drink in the city of Jacksonville for the rest of his life. The way he came for Trevor, um, to defend Trevor, and then a whole host of other guys. Jerry Jones gets kicked out the game for throwing punches, and I'm for it. I'm okay with it. At that point, the season's over. The season's been over for a while. So it was nice to see the team had, the team was supporting Trevor, except the one guy who Walker Little, who just got a big contract right before the game started, stood around sort of looking at the fight.
I mean, he was so in the initial one. Yeah, I would say so. But then like this the second one when Sheriff got in his face, Little was in that mix too. So I mean, he was around for sure. Um, I the thing that bothered me is like D'Amico Ryan's like definitely was an apologist for Aziz, and I I would like I wish that Doug Peterson did that for us. You know, as far as like I understand standing up for your team and all that. Like I respect D'Amico for that. But then Doug Peterson came in and lackadaisical like business decision, you know, kind of thing or whatever. Just like
I,
he was defending
I just don't understand his use of the word unfortunate.
he was defending this and not the Jaguars logo. Like he
Yeah,
was defending that, not
and
his job.
I get that he can't say certain things maybe about like officiating or whatever. Like I get that there's certain lines that you have to be careful not to cross. I understand that, but at some point, Doug Peterson has to show some sort of emotion or passion or like he cares at all about the team. If you if you hear this guy talk, you would think that like he's a middle manager for like a giant corporation that sells like
Yeah,
Xerox machines.
yeah, exactly.
Like, bro is that's as passionate as he is about his team. He's constantly throwing Trevor Lawrence under the bus this
Hmm.
year. Going into the game, he was talking a bunch of nonsense about Trevor Lawrence's shoulder injury being a pain tolerance issue, when everyone else in the world was saying it's not just a pain tolerance issue. Like, there's damage that could be done to his shoulder. And I don't know for sure. Like, I'm not a doctor,
I
but
mean, he had an AC sprain or whatever they said, but I mean, he had the same bump on his shoulder that Keenan Allen did. And Keenan Allen played through it, too, or whatever. But I mean, we saw him out there. Like somebody said that he was turning like a Roomba. I mean, he was missing, you know, his wide receivers that were like wide open and stuff, and he's just like, we know that that wasn't Trev, right?
yeah, I can't. You can't tell me that injury, even though it's not to his throwing shoulder, is not affecting his overall just mechanics. Like it just doesn't make
Right.
like his. They use their whole body to throw the ball a very specific way to be accurate. But Jeff on Twitter, and I'm going to call it Twitter forever. I don't care, and that's not because I hate Elon Musk. It's just because I'm old and I refuse to learn a new name for it. It'll forever be Twitter. He can call it X all he wants. I'm a big fan of Elon, but I'm just not. I'm not doing all that.
It kind of
Jeff
reminds me when
on
WWF turned into
yeah.
WWE, and I had to say WWE. I'm like, ah.
Yeah. For yeah. But Jeff says Doug's not Duval. He hates the team. He does talk like a man who hates this team. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't sound like he's thrilled to be here. And that's another thing with the Walker Little extension. The rumors on Twitter and the information on Twitter from people in the know is that that dude has hated his time here in Jacksonville. He's hated the coaching staff. He's hated the city. He's hated the just the overall vibe of being a Jacksonville Jaguar. The dude has hated being here, and that's what it sounds like. Doug Peterson sounds like he hates it here too. But luckily for Doug, we have an owner who is the most hands-off owner I think I've ever seen. For a sports team, Shad Khan is the root of the problem. Uh, I mean, you can argue against all you want. Shad Khan is more interested in figuring out how to make money off the London games than he is about making the team any good, right? And this idiot, there's so many idiots. There's too many idiots to name, but there's so many idiots involved. Some idiot told Shad Khan that this was the best roster ever assembled, and then this idiot believed it. Shad Khan believed it, and then says it, on the behind the scenes sort of documentary that the um, Jag social media team puts together. We're
I
once
was just
again.
interject here for a second.
Yeah.
Like,
Sorry,
I,
sorry.
uh,
All hopped up on Coke Zero.
talent wise, I think this is one of the better Jaguars teams for sure. Coaching is the issue for me. And it's like when games are close or whatever, it's coaching, and when we're getting blown out, it's talent. And it's like we got blown out with Mac Jones on the field against Detroit. And then when Trevor's playing and he's 100% healthy or whatever, this is a playoff team. I
Yeah,
mean, and that's what he does, and that's what he brings to the field.
yeah. This
And then
season has
for Doug
proven.
Peterson to treat him like the way that he
Yeah,
does or whatever, that's what bothers me so much about it. It's
yeah.
like when Mac Jones was on the field in Detroit Lions, whatever, he goes, well, you know, it's a team sport or whatever. But when Trevor's out there, we lose by 3 or something like that. He's like, Well, Trevor, he puts it all on
Oh, the
him.
quarterback's got to make better decisions.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
Come on, man.
stuff like that, whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, man. That guy really. As soon as I found out that he wasn't fired after the Detroit Lions game, I sort of checked out. And to know all that, or whatever, and then Trevor's like hurt already, and then he comes back into the building against the Texans game, and we know that he's going to be on the field and stuff like that. And we see that his throwing motion's off. That added all the fuel to the fire, or whatever, for that hit. So you wonder if Jags fans are like acting out of pocket or whatever towards Houston fans or whatever. That should answer your question. We've been hurt this entire time, and to see the only like decent thing, whatever, in Jacksonville to get slammed like that, whatever, like turned it off, for us, whatever. We just, that was it. I just got like super pissed. I was like ready, like, okay, I'm gonna be outside the stadium and wait for this motherfucker to come out.
Yeah. There's people on Twitter talking about, following the buses and waylaying the buses. So, I mean, it's just all so frustrating, man. We got people. Apparently, I'm on Twitter. I see Forerunner B, one of the guys, big Jags fan, that I follow, said, no con, Jags not Jags, can't have it both ways. You have to expect he sucks at hiring people to run the side of the organization, and he worked to keep the team in town. I hear you. I hear what he's saying. I get it. A lot of people believe that if Shad Khan had not bought this team, someone else would have bought it and they would have moved them out of Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But at some point, we got to ask ourselves this question. The Jacksonville Jaguars are one of the, statistically speaking, in terms of wins and losses, one of the worst sports franchises in the history of professional sports in America, right? They are one of the worst. They have had a handful of winning seasons out of 30. The rest of the time, they've been at best average, but mostly abysmal.
Man,
Shad
we've
Khan
been to the
inherited that same.
playoffs
Huh?
more times this. I say we've been to the playoffs more times this century than a handful of teams. It's just
Yeah,
the longevity of the situation. Like we're a young team, whatever, and I think that plays an impact to it as well. Like a lot of the narrative or whatever, like kids are growing up and stuff. Like you know, they're watching TV and whatever, and Jags are not on it. We're not in prime time. We never played on Thanksgiving. And then when we are, whatever, we put out an abysmal performance. So it's I think it's like the eyes or whatever from the nation like that goes to the Jacksonville organization more than like what the organization does to itself. Like I would agree that Shad Khan coming in and owning this team, whatever, has turned things around. He just seems like, and I could say this probably for a fact that he doesn't know a damn thing about football.
yeah, clearly.
And that's his. If that changed, everything about this organization would be a lot better. Granted,
Well,
right? And
well,
then he
that
has
and Cody,
people.
he clearly doesn't have the instincts to hire people.
Well,
How
he
do
has
you
people.
become a billionaire in the business world and you can't hire people? You know what I mean? Like
He has
you don't
people in
have
his ear, or
to.
whatever, going like, "Hey, Shad, like this would be good." That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
Like, bro, the Urban Meyer situation after the fact, right? Like everybody in Jacksonville was like, "Oh yeah, Urban sucks, whatever, blah blah blah. Should have told you and all this." But before that, how many people were out there going like, "You should hire Urban Meyer"?
I don't know. I don't remember. I know that from day one, being a Florida Gator fan, I said Urban Meyer was going to be a disaster, and I didn't think he was going to get run out of town. Within the first season. I thought it would take a season or two, but I knew just the way that he had left a disaster of a program at the University of Florida. Darn near did the same thing at Ohio State. But I'm sure there was a lot of people. Especially the professional commentators on ESPN and wherever else. These people are morons. They don't know what they're talking about. They
Yep,
parrot the same things,
that's the problem.
the
That's the
over and
real
over
problem
again.
in the NFL,
And then you have that's the best case scenario, and then the worst case scenario, you have people like Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk, who I don't know what happened to that man
dude.
in Jacksonville, but that man hates this city. He hates the team.
No,
He
I,
hates the
I
people
I'll
here.
tell you what it is. It's engagement farming. Like,
It's gotta be. Yeah, it's
yeah,
got.
if you say something positive about Jacksonville or whatever, like we'll give you props and all that stuff. But if you say something negative about us, you get fucking swarmed. And like when he does or whatever, he notices that his engagement goes way up or whatever, and
Yep.
that's all he cares about. There is no other reason to write those troll pieces of art or whatever that he puts out.
He mentioned that the Jags might move to London when the stadium deal got done.
Yeah,
Like, for the
that's
new what are you talking about, man? Like, what are you
there's no other explanation that he's trolling for
Yeah.
engagement farming.
Yeah, and if so, that's almost, I almost respect him for it because that's genius level master trolling if that's what he's doing. Uh, but it just from the top to the bottom, Doug Peterson out here talking about, oh, it's unfortunate, and then he takes Jerry and Jones to task in his press conference after the game. Oh, Jerry Jones has got to be the bigger man. Got to you got to step up and be the bigger man. I'm sorry, there are times when you have to. I mean, you just gotta throw it down. Like there's
Yeah.
if that team had just stood back and said, "Oh no, Trevor's hurt. Man, that sucks. We got to be the bigger person." Like I would have zero respect for any of those guys. And two, we act like these dudes are paid. A lot of them are paid millions of dollars to play this game. So if you do something stupid, like I don't feel bad for Aziz Al Shair for people taking out their anger on him. I thought it was hilarious how Jags fans were darn near falling out of the stands to come down to the tunnel when he's being taken out of the tunnel. The one Dave Mendenhall guy is over there in the corner flipping him the double bird. Darn near about to fall out of the stands. Like it it's crazy. It's insane to be, you take a step back and look at it logically. It's insane to be that angry about a football game. But what you said is true. It's not just that hit. Jags fans are not just angry about what happened to Trevor Lawrence. It is darn near 30 years of incompetence. A lot of people spending tens of thousands, and some people, if you've been a season ticket member, depending on what section you're in, darn near close to 100,000 or more dollars on this team. Um, you know, in investing time and money and energy into this team and having almost nothing to show for it year after year after year. And then the worst part is like the head coach doesn't care. Dude doesn't care. Trent
Expect
Baalke is silent.
Yeah. The expectations for this team going into the season, like you know, Trevor got hurt in the latter half of the season, would have made the playoffs again, I feel like. And then, we get a little better in the draft and I was thinking like, okay, we'll make another playoff run, right? And
Yeah, at least
then
be in
and then
contention.
yeah, and then it just turns into the absolute shit show that it turned into. And the only thing that I could think that like makes any sense as far as like why this happened, because I mean we made it to the playoffs with Zay Jones like as our number one really, and then now we got BTJ and he's insane, like playing at like a pro level, whatever already, like getting 100 yards with Mac Jones as your quarterback is
Yeah.
pretty hard to do. So
Yeah, and also I don't understand, just to talk about him for a minute. When Trevor Lawrence is playing, they target the guy 2 or 3 times a game.
mhm,
Mac Jones, the lesser, and I love Mac Jones. He's a Jacksonville kid. He's a feel good story. He's not as good as Trevor Lawrence playing quarterback, but when Mac Jones is playing, they target him, a whole bunch of times. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand the offensive scheme. I don't get what they're trying to do. Like I don't understand so many things about what they're doing and why they're doing it.
yeah,
And I don't know about you, but if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I refuse to play another down. I'm shutting it down. I'm go getting that surgery done to my shoulder. I'm not playing another. There's no point in Trevor playing another snap. Uh, this season. It's a lost cause. Like there's no point. Let Mac Jones go and play the rest of the games and make a case for him to, go get a contract somewhere else. But I don't know. I
just
don't see any point.
just that we ain't doing shit until we clean house.
I mean, are we gonna clean house though? Because Trent Baalke just is the one who inked that deal with Walker Little for the contract extension. So he's
I,
making decisions that are going to affect the future of the team. So is Shad Khan planning on keeping dude around? Like it's mind boggling. It's
I
perplexing.
it kind of feels like Shad is off doing something else, or whatever, and then he's to come in at a certain point in time and just evaluate everything. It's like he's not even paying attention to current state of affairs with the Jaguars or the organization. And it's like it kind of feels like when your parents leave the house and you're a kid or whatever, and then you just destroy the house, and then they come back and they're like, "What
It's
the?"
like your parents go to work and they're like, "Listen, you better be in the playoffs by the time I come home. Your
Yeah,
season better be done. You better
yeah,
be in the playoffs by the time I come home." And
right,
he comes back. Yeah, your
yeah,
parents
and
come
he's
back.
going, "And you sign Walker Little, like, and you hurt Trev," like, yeah, the yeah, it feels like that 100%, whatever. And I think that any moves that are going to be made are going to be made in the offseason for sure. The Walker Little signing just feels more like E Dilla said. He said it felt like more like desperation than job security or whatever. Because
I, you know, I,
they usually say like, "Oh, I talked to Shad and everything is all good." They haven't been saying that lately.
yeah, I mean, well, Doug, he can't take time. He doesn't have time to talk to Shad. He's too busy bashing Trevor Lawrence and blaming him for all the problems on the
He's
team.
got a picture of Trevor Lawrence in his office, like a dartboard, and he
Yeah,
just
absolutely. He's got a Trevor Lawrence voodoo doll in his office, and he's doing all sorts of experiments on it. Um, it just, like I said, there's just so much about it that's perplexing. And then you see, I think Nick Casario is an idiot for the way he defended so vehemently, his player. Because Aziz Al Shair, if you haven't heard, got suspended for 3 games. He's going to appeal it. It'll probably be taken out to 2, maybe even 1 game. Who knows? We'll see as he goes through the process. But D'Amico Ryan and
I
Nick
wonder if he
Casario,
goes
they're
home
all
to Parkland during the 3-game suspension.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Jags fans got a hold of his address and put that out there. Listen, it made me laugh, but it's probably not a good idea. There are certain scenarios in the state of Florida where that can be considered a crime. So do that at your own risk. There is nothing happened on that football field that's worth me going to jail for. So yeah, you gotta measure your how comfortable you are with that risk accordingly.
I don't have gas money, so I can't do it.
We should charter a bus and just go protest outside his house. You suck. We hate you. Um, but
I gotta come up with better chance than that, dude.
yeah, something. I don't know. I'm tired. It's late. I've had too much caffeine today. The Jags are making me angry. They're making me sad. Trevor Lawrence almost died on the field. Cut me some slack. But my point with Nick Casario is at least he got out and said something.
Mhm.
Like he made some sort of comment. Trent Baalke, where are you? Where are you, Trent Baalke? What are you doing? What are Are you going to defend your team? Are you going to like anything? Like I mean, dude is a, uh, you know, I don't know. You know, can't take another season with Trent and Doug. Like I don't know, man. I think Doug's going to be gone. I don't think there's any way. Even with Shad Khan being hands off, I don't see a way for Doug to survive this season. He's literally begging to be fired in every comment he makes. So hopefully they make his
I
wish
was
come true.
I was thinking like, how AB left at halftime? Like that'd be
How funny would it be? Like 2 games
just
from
takes
now,
his headset
he's
off,
just
puts his
like,
clipboard
peace.
down.
He's like, it's been real. It's been fun, but it has been real fun. Uh, you know, I mean, short of wearing a shirt that says, please fire me, I don't know what else Doug Peterson can say, uh, to convey the fact that, he would like to be fired, as quickly as possible. Right. So,
Yeah.
um,
There's
just,
just I just want to say this, whatever, because like it's been going around. Like there's people that say that the slide was late. And if you watched it, like, and you think that honestly, like, I don't even know what to say to those people. Like, I feel like that's just some brain dead shit to say.
there's a picture floating around. I don't have it pulled up that shows Aziz Al Shair already diving in
Mhm.
sort of that torpedo tackle long before Trevor, like 2 steps before Trevor even starts to. So, I mean, best case scenario, he was going to hit him in the knees, which
So,
is also illegal.
I mean, there's, if you slow it down, if you chop frame it or whatever, it's like, he was about, I think 5 or 10. I think it was 5, yeah, 5 yards out, 5 full yards out, whatever, when he starts to drop his knee. And then, it was about like when when he came down. I wish like we could pull it up the video or something.
Let me see if I can find it.
Anyway, when he came down fully, right? Like he was there with his arm brace, like pushing on, his chest or whatever, and the concussion came from, the impact of him hitting the ground, from that push. It's just like that part was the unnecessary part to me. And then to come off of him, rolled his arm with the arm brace like across his
Yeah, and
helmet.
I think it's
And
really
it and people that defend this, you got to understand the person more than anything else. It's because like he's done this, not just this dirty hit, whatever, but like others in concession, and it said it in his suspension that his character, and they're referencing those other instances or whatever, doesn't represent the NFL. Like it is like without a doubt a dirty hit. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a 3-game suspension.
and I think too, it's the forearm, right? He has some sort of
Yeah,
metal brace in his arm. Clearly, he's had some sort of arm injury, whatever.
right.
But I think it's the way he takes his arm and he drives it into Trevor's head and he drives Trevor's head into the ground. If Alshire had come in with his shoulder or even his helmet and hit Trevor and it sort of like glanced off him like most of these hits normally go, I don't think people are having as strong a reaction. I think you could say like, listen, dude, sort of a bang bang play. Like, he hit him with the shoulder. What do you expect him to do at that point? But I think you can clearly say in this scenario, we expect you not to take the metal brace on your arm and drive it into the head of a guy who's sliding. Now, this account is sort of it's a parody, this Fantasy Gazette, sort of a satire account. So they're being sarcastic when they say that Aziz Al Shir is a monster and deserves prison. But you can see like he comes with the arm. It's the arm, and then he rolls over on him.
So
And
when
then when the
Trevor
flag
when
gets thrown,
Trevor's dropping, yeah, when Trevor's dropping, he's dropping or whatever, and then he pushes his arms into his like upper chest area, like towards his neck, and you can see like the back of Trevor's head hit the turf, which caused the
yeah, it's when he hits the
concussion.
ground. It's yeah.
So there's a term called fencing or whatever, and it's when your arms get stiff, whatever, after you get knocked out, and that's what they use to say that you have like a traumatic brain injury now. That gave him a traumatic brain injury.
See if there's any other angles here. This might be one.
Yeah, slides. Let's see if it goes. Yeah, right here, he starts to drop that knee. Bam. And they like he's coming down after, and people are blaming the fake slide, like because guess who? Patrick Mahomes likes to pretend to slide or whatever before seeing a defender, and then he'll stand up and start running again as soon as they, try to avoid him because of for his protection. And they're blaming stuff like that or whatever on the fact that like Aziz had to complete this tackle, right?
Yeah,
But
I'd be okay with the NFL making a rule change where let me see if I can stop it. Like if the quarterback goes down and as soon as his butt hits the ground or like his knee hits the ground, plays dead. Right? Like they like if they could make some sort of a rule change that kill the play faster. I don't know. There's got to be some solution. Um,
so those white lines are 5 yards, right? So it's about 3 yards away. Like when his knee's like fully down before the contact comes, and you cannot tell me that this wasn't intentional.
yeah, especially it's the forearm, the way he leads with the
Yeah,
the braced arm.
he's aiming for his head.
Yeah, it's just blatant as the day is long.
Yeah.
Um,
And then the crazy part is like right after this, he gets up and throws his arms up in the air like, what? Y'all really calling the flag on that?
like, what?
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he's so busy complaining that he doesn't see my guy Evan Ingram over here barreling right for him.
This
And
guy's
some idiot in the fan battle AFC South fan battle group on Facebook, I forget who it was like, why didn't Evan Ingram get suspended for blindsiding Aziz Al-Shir after the play was over? I'm like, shut up, you idiot. Like, imagine having that sort of a stupid idiot opinion. Just
because
the whole
Aziz
thing
yeah,
is
Aziz walked out of the stadium or whatever. That's
yeah, he wasn't hurt. Like,
yeah, he didn't get carted off,
And I do think Jerry Jones throwing punches at people who have helmets on, you know, probably wasn't gonna be effective, but I don't
Dude,
care, at least he showed some passion. It seemed like
yeah.
he cared, like, he saw his guy get injured, and he comes off the sidelines and
Yeah, I
starts
mean,
throwing haymakers at people, like, it was glorious.
yeah, I played football before, and it's a highly like emotional game, um, and just you don't think like you just start swinging. That's the
Yeah.
natural instinct, you know.
Yeah, I wanna play Doug Peterson's comments here. Uh, hopefully, I think the audio will play.
I can't hear it. Can you? Can you hear it? Because I can't.
And I don't know why I can never get it to work properly. Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna stop sharing. But he said he saw him at halftime. He was moving around, and then goes and then talks about how unfortunate it is, and how it talks. No passion, no fire, no like, oh, I can't believe. And then defend like I know D'Amico Ryans doesn't coach his guys that way. We know that what's his name wasn't trying to hurt him. Like what?
He's trying to like put all the fires out.
Yeah,
And
but I think what this
do
team
you
needs is fire.
do do you
Like,
think like okay, he wants like say Peterson wants out of Jacksonville, right? So like I said, like before, he's defending the NFL shield before the logo. Like, do you think he wants to coach again? Like, he just doesn't like it here.
I don't know. I think I mean he's relatively young as far as coaches go, right? Like he's not in his 70s or anything. Like he's maybe I don't know. He doesn't seem like he likes coaching. He
Yeah,
he
that's
he
what I'm
has
saying.
never really seemed like he's having that great of a time. Like uh I don't know, man.
Jeff said, "Tap me in. You're up. Next man up. Get in there."
Yeah, like literally I think me, Cody and Jeff on Twitter could coach a better game plan. Like, and I know literally almost nothing about the complexities of an NFL playbook. But I know, I could tell Press Taylor to stop calling some of the stupid plays on certain situations that he calls. Like,
We still don't have like a solid answer, like who's actually calling plays.
it's Press Taylor. It's Press Taylor. That's why he won't give an answer, because if it was him, one thing I do think about Doug is like when he has made certain decisions, he's actually said like, "No, that was me. I did that." But he won't. He's so non-committal about the answers and who's calling plays. It's either Press Taylor or it's a combination of Doug and Press Taylor together trying to figure out what play. Which I think when you have two bosses, you don't have any bosses, right? Like,
Yeah,
to yeah. So
I mean that may be the most. That may be the issue, like them just not being on the same page or whatever. So, I mean, that's why it looks like the product on the field looks the way that it does.
yeah, I mean, clearly there is a disconnect somewhere, and I think what the team's reaction, jumping in immediately and defending Trevor, uh, shows that the disconnect is not between the team and Trevor.
Right.
Like, clearly, like you don't go hard for your quarterback like that, especially the defensive players jumping up. You know, Walker and Heinz Allen were about to run on everybody was coming on the field. And then
My biggest fear is that this organization completely like ruins Trevor, and we only have one more shot. I feel like, and I know his contract's longer than that, but people can do crazy things and get out of contracts or
I
whatever.
mean he can demand a trade.
Yeah, I
He
mean
absolutely could, and I
Urban,
wouldn't blame him a bit.
like Urban being your head coach as soon as you get into the NFL, like some it's like God hates Trevor or something, but 'cause, why would he
Well,
do that
I
to
mean, God
somebody?
hates the Jaguars, and Trevor just had the misfortune of being drafted by the team that God hates.
But
Um,
I mean, and then going to the playoffs after that and giving him that high or whatever, and then he gets hurt the next season or whatever, and they miss the playoffs, and then going into this or whatever, and being on that losing streak again, it's just like what a ride, dude! Like the ups and downs, and mostly downs that it has been to be a Jaguars fan for the last 4 years.
yeah, I don't get it. I was in the stadium for that playoff game too when he threw 5 picks, and then came back and they won the game. And I have sat in that stadium and other stadiums watching Jacksonville Jaguar teams that had bad quarterbacks, like because there's been more bad quarterbacks than good quarterbacks, and even not being someone who's an expert, in professional football, you watch enough football, you can tell when someone just doesn't have it. Trevor Lawrence has it,
Yeah.
right? He's been inconsistent at times, whatever, but he has the talent. The arm talent's there. The decision making's there. Um,
People in the same breath will say like, "Oh, Trevor Lawrence isn't any good" or whatever, and then as soon as like they need a quarterback and with the Giants or whatever, they need to go trade for Trevor Lawrence.
yep.
You know something that we all know that we keep preaching or whatever. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback,
Yeah.
and in a solid offense or whatever, he would be a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, with halfway decent decision making,
Mhm.
and a coach that just supports him. Right? Look at Justin Herbert in in Los Angeles with Harbaugh as his coach now. The dude just pumps him up. Like he coaches him. I'm sure he gets coached when he doesn't play well or makes bad decisions, but he pumps him up. He supports him. He talks about him positively in post game press conferences, even when he has to say like, yeah, he's got to make better decisions, but he's doing a lot of good. It's just a completely different tone and mindset. And Herbert is playing better than he's ever played in a lot of these games this year. So yeah, talent, it's on the quarterback to perform and live up to their talent and be consistent, but coaching and scheme and the environment that's in that building that's created by the staff does play a part. Like you can't tell me it doesn't. Like it has to.
Yeah, yeah. I learned from Doug Peterson's reaction and all the pressers or whatever, and then what happened on the field. That Doug Peterson is definitely not a culture builder, and that's huge for the locker room and for players trying to get every yard or whatever, and willing to put their bodies on the line for the team. And that's why we see like some of the things that happen, like players just having a lot of quit in them. Like I think it was Cisco that said that.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, and that's from that because the culture is, if it's business, then why should I do it? Why should I go out there and put my body on the line and ruin my chances of continuing to have a career here in the NFL, if we're not there for each other,
Yeah. If he doesn't care, why should I care?
Right.
Right. The
And that starts with him. That's another thing that I say. Like all the Jaguars' issues right now, it's not players, it's not talent, it's coaching. It's 100%.
look at how the Chiefs players play for Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And all the times that the Chiefs have lost or not done what they're supposed to, which isn't, very often, that team has not once quit on Andy Reid. The Jacksonville Jaguars have quit on Doug Peterson several times this season, right? Um, and you don't do that when you care about your boss, right? So I don't know.
Fuck Texans.
Yep.
Fuck Houston. Dude, I hate your music. Your barbecue sucks. Your city floods all the time. Whatever. It's insane. You live in a sewer. Um,
The worst, the
dude,
worst
like
rap music ever
Dallas,
created is from the city of Houston, flat
Dallas
out.
owns you, which is crazy because they've been sucking for like every. I mean, I don't even understand like how people can be Houston fans to begin with. Paul Wall is old and ugly. He really is, dude. I was like, man, is that Paul Wall? And is that like somebody's grandpa? Like, I couldn't believe that. I think it made me feel old to see Paul Wall. Have you seen
Yeah,
him?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
insane. Anyway, I, dude, I've met like maybe one nice Texans fan, and that's
I,
Matt.
I, I will say that the folks with Fan Battle Sports, Matt Briggs, folks on his show, there are decent Texans fans out there, but the
But
Texans
but
fans on Twitter for the most part are god awful.
but this isn't like Jaguars be nice with everybody. This is Jaguars fan battle. Fuck Matt
I
Bridge
like Matt.
too.
Well, I'll let you say that one. But I will say that Houston culture. Everyone talks about the culture. Houston culture pretty much amounts to whining about the Tennessee Titans wearing Oilers colors,
Yeah.
and they're the sort of people that think like wearing Crocs to Chili's is a fancy date night with your wife, right? Like, these hillbillies, they wouldn't last a minute in Duval County, as clearly demonstrated on the field. They didn't want any of the smoke coming from the stands. The city of Houston, I think, probably smells like rotten eggs. I've never been there, but you just see video of it and you think, ugh, that probably stinks. Um, I think their people are stinky. I think that they are illiterate hillbillies. I think that they are the sort of folks who, when you see them coming down the street, you just switch to the other side of the street. You just no, I can't.
You
I
ever
don't want to
hear
be these people.
you ever hear Charles Barkley talk about the women of Galveston, Texas?
No,
He
no,
says, the big old women, big old hefty women, stuff like that, whatever. And like built like lumberjacks shack or whatever. And I'm like, Galveston isn't far away from Houston, right? Or am I wrong? But I don't know.
I have no idea.
I feel
Texas
like
is a wild place, man.
I feel like that's where like Houston women go to vacation. And you might just be seeing Houston women. I don't think it's like Galveston or whatever. I don't know. I
I don't
could
know.
be
Now,
wrong.
hold on. Now I want to Google it. How far is Galveston from Houston?
Fucking sewer water ass city, dude. I ain't never going to Houston.
Yeah, so I guess Galveston is only 52 miles. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
That
Yep.
checks out.
That's them. That's
Um,
them.
yeah, Houston. I hope that you have
Big
high
old
taxes and no return on your investment. I hope that you know, I hope that every barbecue brisket you ever try to smoke catches on fire. I hope
heard,
that your
heard all their
team.
barbecue was dry there.
I hope that your team is forced to take Deshaun Watson back as your
Oh my
quarterback.
god, I forgot
Uh,
about that. They just
yeah,
that's he was going to those massage parlors down there or
yeah.
whatever.
You remember all
That's what
the
happened.
Houston fans that defended him being a
Oh
creepy
my god.
rapist weirdo?
Wow.
Yeah,
If I would have known, like, I try to see the good in everybody. But then things like this happen and whatever, and I like go back into my memory and I'm like, there were signs. There were a lot of signs, and I just missed them all.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You look into the dead, lifeless eyes of these Houston Texans fans, and they start screaming about for the culture and uh, all the things that they whine and cry about, and you can't do anything but pity them. They're
I,
just a pitiable people who
they're
have no hope.
ruining CJ Stroud right now.
Yeah,
He was on quite a like tear or whatever as a rookie and stuff, and now he's like, I mean, I could tell you what happened. He was like in Ohio State, doing fine. Whatever, he comes down, he gets the NFL contract. He's all excited about that. But then he's living in Houston for the year, right? And then he comes into his next season, the sophomore season, and whatever he's supposed to put up those same type of numbers and stuff like that, or even make a bigger leap. And then he goes straight backwards. That's probably what living in Houston does to a motherfucker.
I mean, it's certainly. I think that, and when he started dating Amber Rose, I think that didn't help him either. I
Yeah.
sincerely hope that somehow the Texans are forced to trade Stroud for Deshaun Watson and like a can of beans. And then I hope that Stroud goes and has success anywhere but Houston. And I hope Aziz Al Shair, you know, I hope he sleeps with one eye open for the next few days,
Dude,
worrying about.
I hope he has to sleep in a bunk bed for some reason, and he wakes up every morning and he bumps his head.
Yeah, I hope the fleas of 1,000 camels infest his armpits forever, from now until the day he dies.
I hope he hits his pinky toe on every coffee table he runs across.
I hope every time he drives down the street, he hits every single red light. Never, never gets a green light. I hope every single time. I hope he has to stop at every single red light
Damn,
for
that's
as long
fucking
as he
evil.
lives.
That's evil.
All right, I guess we'll end it there. There's really not much else to say except Jaguars suck. Houston also sucks, and life sucks, and then you die.
At least when my team sucks, I get to go look at a beautiful beach and eat actually good barbecue and hang out with really nice people or whatever, instead of like living in that shithole sewer you call fucking town.
Yeah, yeah. Houston fans wake up and they're still in Houston, so pray for them, I guess.
Mm.
All right, see you.